Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. That is what we are going to review. It's a terrible rhyme, don't try that. So, just got done with the final film. Another a good one, of course. Like I mentioned before, you really have to watch Part 1 and Part 2 really back to back. Granted, they were released, 6-7 months apart? But it's still one of those, I think it's best when they are watched back to back, because the previous one was a lot slower. Part 1, it's a lot slower leading up to Malfoy Manor and the death of Dobby. And then right off the bat with Part 2, it's right after Dobby's death, right after they buried him. And then they are going straight forward into to the action, going to Gringotts, getting a Horcrux, and then straight into Hogwarts and the Battle of Hogwarts, and dealing with Voldemort. It's very quick. There's a couple of moments where it's a lot slower, but that kind of helps build intensity. And I want to check something real quick before I state it. Yeah, this is the shortest of all of the Harry Potter films, with a 130-minute runtime. So, but anyway, so it's the shortest, and it's probably the most fast-paced. There's action galore. If you like the little bit that you get in the 6th film, and you like the action of the 4th, it's all here. Of course, the story is it's Harry, Ron, and Hermione setting off to get the final Horcruxes in hopes to defeat Voldemort. What I really liked about this film is I think all of the films actually lead up to it. Of course, better with the books. The book does a lot better of a job, but for being a film adaptation, I think it hits the core, it gets what it needs done, and which is most important. I understand why they leave stuff out, why they switch some of the stuff up. I think the book delves, spoiler alert, the book kind of delves more into Fred Weasley's death, while the film kind of does not. So, he's just kind of dead, and I can't remember. I think again, in the film, you find out that Remus and Tonks had a child just before Harry sets himself up against Voldemort. In the book, I think they hint at it really early on, and then I think right after Dobby's death is when they show up again and they announce Harry as a godfather. And but in this one, just bam, it's happened. It's over. It's done. So kind of sucks. But as I was gonna say, it all kind of leads up. Harry's got his invisibility cloak from the first one. In the second film, you get to see the spiders. You get to see the Chamber of Secrets, which isn't in the book. But visually, it was really cool to see the chamber, and then you get to see the dead skeleton of the basilisk. In the third one, you got the Marauders map, and you got the Dementors. I love that. Of course, in the book, another spoiler alert, Snape's death takes place in the Creaking Shack, I believe, or whatever it's called, in the book. But in the film, they added a new location to Hogwarts, the little boat area where all the first years would come through, which was kind of cool to see. Nice little poetic. Harry first got there in the boat, and that's kind of where everything goes down, and kind of when Harry begins to realize some of the truth going on. Of course, the 4th year, this Triwizard Tournament isn't really in it. Oh, what I was going to say about the Chamber of Secrets being in the film, the only thing that they missed of an opportunity is they could have probably reintroduced Moaning Myrtle for the third time. Because the last time we saw her in the fourth film, and then it was in the second film. Of course, she takes control of the bathroom, the bathroom that contains the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets. So it kind of would have been nice to just throw a 30-second little conversation just for that. Maybe they did. Maybe it's in a deleted scene. I don't think it is though. What else was there? In year 4, really, it's just the fact that Voldemort comes back. Year 5, Dumbledore's army, Room of Requirements takes place. Year 6, the whole Dumbledore's death, the learning of the Horcruxes. Year 7, Part 1. I don't know why they call it Year 7, Part 1. Or why they call it Year 7, because he doesn't really go to Hogwarts, or he's not attending Hogwarts. But, you know, it's just leading up to, it's a whole lead up to Part 2, and then you got Part 2. What I did want to say is, I really like the beginning of this film, because it starts out with, you know, Voldemort's getting the wand, and then it cuts to Snape, who is now headmaster of Hogwarts, and it's just this gloomy, overshadowed, this really gray color scheme, blue color scheme, blackish, you know, just dark color scheme, and Snape's looking down as all the students are being, you know, guided to wherever they're heading to in the castle. And it's just, you can tell there has been some darkness, some corruption, and Harry definitely needs to fix it. Of course, and one of my favorite scenes is when Snape has everyone gathered in the Great Hall, and he's basically saying that if anybody knows anything about Harry Potter, they tell me now. Otherwise, if we find out, you're going to be just as guilty as him. You're going to get whatever consequence we would put on him. And Harry pops out and kind of tells Snape off for killing Dumbledore after Dumbledore completely trusted him. I don't know, I just love that. Of course, you can see some regret and darkness in Snape's eyes. And then Snape evidently is then killed by Voldemort, because Voldemort thinks that since Snape killed Dumbledore, that Snape is the master of the Elder Wand, and then kill Snape in hopes that he could be the master of the Elder Wand. And of course, if you have the Elder Wand, you are practically unbeatable. Or at least the wand is unbeatable. Unbeatable. But, you know, I mean, once again, the acting is just as good as it was in Part 1, because, if I recall, they were filmed back to back, so yeah, there's that. What else was I going to throw in? There's something else. I don't know. But either way, it's a good film. Like I said, it's really fast paced. It can seem a little bit rushed, so maybe if they were slowing some stuff down, kept a little mystery. Because I know, like in the, I really shouldn't be comparing it to the book, but in the book, you know, they go a little more in depth about the diadem that Harry's going after, because the Ravenclaw hides it in a tree stump. She tells Tom Riddle where it's at. Tom Riddle takes it, hides it elsewhere, but he promised to destroy it. Doesn't. And so you get a little backstory on that. Of course, not necessary for the film, but really cool in the book. Of course, the one thing we must discuss real briefly is Snape. Of course, you know, all this time you get the sense that Snape is this snake, like this coward, this dark cloud in Harry's life, more so than Voldemort. Although Voldemort is a very big dark cloud, but you get the sense that Snape is something that Harry will have to face, evidently, and he's just a bad person. But upon learning through the film, especially right after Snape dies, Harry gets some tears, puts it in a flask, dumps it in a pensieve, looks into it and can see Snape's memories, in which we learn that of all the Horcruxes, Harry was one of them, and he must, Voldemort must kill him in order for Voldemort to die. Because as long as Harry lives, Voldemort can't die, but Voldemort is unaware of this, and only Dumbledore knew. He shared it with Snape, so Dumbledore and Snape knew, and then finally, Harry knew, and Hermione kind of knew as well. But, so Harry goes, but upon there, you find out that Snape has been actually a secret spy, in a sense, for Dumbledore, and upon Snape killing Dumbledore, that was all purpose. Snape had to do that under Dumbledore's request in order to gain the Dark Lord's faith 100% of the way. Because if he was doubting him at any point and he killed Dumbledore, well, clearly he's on Voldemort's side. But in reality, he was actually on Dumbledore's side, still working for the man who is now dead in the grave. But it kind of brings a sense of honesty back to him. You can kind of understand why Snape, in the fifth one, why he's so reluctant to help Harry defend against, or teach him how to block his mind against the Dark Lord. Find out that you can understand why, a bit of why Snape is so mean to Harry, because he's much like his own father, James. And, of course, James took Lily, who is Harry's mother, away from Snape, and so Snape has always resented him, but Snape loved Harry's mother enough to the point where he would do anything to protect her. So it's a nice little love story thing going there. Of course, once again, a lot better in the book. But I'll tell you one, the only gripe I have about this film is the way Voldemort and Bellatrix die. When they are killed, they are literally become shredded paper in the air. And it is one of the dumbest things I think I've ever seen in terms of death. Because previous 7 films, no one has died like that. No one. And Bellatrix and Voldemort both just go up in a puff of papery flakes. And I hate it so much. I shouldn't say I hate it, but I really dislike it. Because, one, I just think it looks stupid. I mean, you can come up with whatever theory to explain why they did, or why that happened like that. But there's the scenery in the book in which Harry carries Voldemort out of the Great Hall. Because if I remember right, he actually kills him in the Great Hall, not in the courtyard. But he carries him out of the Great Hall. And I just thought that was, in the book, I think that's a very powerful scene. Reading Harry carrying the man who completely wrecked his life more than once, in many ways, and Harry is taking him, carrying the lifeless Voldemort. It's just a powerful scene. For me, I thought it was. I was kind of hoping that that's kind of what would have happened in the movie when I saw it in the theaters, and I was sadly kind of disappointed. I actually disliked the film because of that. I mean, I didn't hate it, but that was a big downer for me, and I still kind of wish that's how they would have gone. But I'm sure they went with that style just because 3D. Then I think 3D is. I watched like 1 or 2 movies in 3D, and I kind of don't care for it. And I'm sure that's why they did it like that. It was for 3D, but for me, I think it looks kind of stupid. I don't know. It's just me. Something else that I wanted to discuss, but I cannot quite. Well, get a little bit more love, interest, Neville, Luna, Harry, Ginny, Ron, Hermione. It's all fine and dandy. in this last chapter, they don't really go into it. I mean, it's there, but they don't necessarily dive too deep into it. But it's a 2-hour movie, and it's a lot of action. It's a lot of fun visuals. So there's that. Spiders, dementors, I mean, orcs, ogres, or giants, or whatever they're called. Yeah, giants. Orcs. What is this, Lord of the Rings? That's another bit from this 5th one, because I believe they introduced, I mean, giants are kind of prevalent throughout the first one, and throughout the, which one is it now? 4th one, I think, via the book. But giants are a little more prevalent in the 5th one because Hagrid had gone out to seek them to join Dumbledore's army. So that's, I don't know, I just threw that in. And now I remember. The one scene that kind of gets me is the one with Bellatrix Lestrange. It's when Hermione becomes Bellatrix to break into Gringotts, and I just think that's kind of a clumsy scene. Because I think Hermione, even though she's a really good person, I think she could have actually really pulled it off a lot better film-wise. I think they should have made it look more... I mean, the idea is that she's uncomfortable, yes, about being Bellatrix, but I think that Hermione could have done it no problem, because... okay. I don't know, that's just me. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I don't know. I definitely would like to hear you guys' thoughts down below. I hope you guys enjoyed my little Harry Potter series. All filmed like 2 months ahead of time because I'm special like that. If I get to Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, I will definitely have a review up next Wednesday for it. And if you guys are interested, I have read at this point Harry Potter and The Cursed Child, the 8th book, so I'd be glad to review that, if anybody's interested. Alright, well, trying to think, I think I covered it all. If there's anything else I want to discuss, I'll throw a little tag-in video sometime down the road. So until next time, guys, adios.